No top hat on here, but there is a crown, which is like a type of hat, Mac. I don't know. Does crown trump top hat in the world of fanciness? Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey Laymen. I'm Matt and this is Mac. And today we are going north of the border to Canada, finally. Our first Canadian whiskey on the YouTube channel. And as such, I have dressed as appropriately as I could. Yes, I know the Sabres are an American hockey team, but
it is hockey.
It's hockey. That's fair. I do like a good...
This bottle is different.
Sorry. Yes, this bottle is different. It's very squat. It's short, wide. It's very ornate looking though too.
But is it? Is it actually ornate, or is it just like?
It's like they tried to make it look fancy.
This feels plastic.
Yeah, I think that's plastic. But it's got like some interesting design on it. It's supposed to kind of look like a crown, right? Like
that would make sense. Sure.
Like the British crown, I think, which would make sense because Canada, Queen, Britain.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Crown Royal. It's not Crown Royale, right? Because that would need an E on the end.
And it's not French.
And it's not French. But it is Canadian, and there's a lot of French people in Canada. French Canadians, to be specific.
It's true.
Yeah. So, what do we know about Canadian whiskey?
Do we know anything about Canadian whiskey? It's smooth, right? Like, I believe it has more distilling, like, regulation than other spirits.
Okay, well, you knew a lot more than I did about Canadian whiskey.
I think it's like a regulation that they have to distill it so many times. I don't know how many times that might be.
And distilling it multiple times makes it smoother.
In my amount of knowledge, yes.
Okay, because we knew that Jameson was triple distilled, and that's supposed to make it
Correct.
smoother. Okay, but that's an Irish whiskey, and this is a Canadian whiskey. And this is kind of considered to be one of the main categories of whiskeys, though, right? You've got bourbon, Scotch, Irish whiskey, Canadian whiskey, Japanese whiskey. This is one of the big categories that we haven't hit yet.
As far as our knowledge allows, that is one of the main categories we have not hit yet.
Okay. And as far as I know, Crown Royal is one of the most ubiquitous Canadian whiskeys there is.
Around here, for sure.
Yes.
I knew about Crown Royal.
Right. And we do live fairly close to Canada. It was not a very expensive bottle. However, it did come not only in a box, which we've established in our hierarchy, which we've established in our hierarchy of fanciness, is somewhere above top hat.
But below a canister.
Right, but below a canister. No top hat on here, but there is a crown, which is like a type of hat, Mac. I don't know. Does crown trump top hat in the world of fanciness? We'll let our viewers decide, I think. But what do you say?
I say no.
You say no.
However, if we ignore the box, there's a bag. Boop. That takes it up a notch.
I feel like this is something you would get like precious gems in. Or something, right. It's got drawstrings. The bottle came inside this bag.
But it's still a little bit fancier than the other whiskeys that we've gotten.
It's true. But
it's the first one that came in a bag.
Yeah, and it's got like gold stitching, which is probably like really cheap thread that was made in China, but you know.
But it's got the color scheme. The royal color scheme is purple and gold.
Purple, yes. That's true. Purple and gold.
So, royalty, Canadian. What do you think this is going to taste like?
Boy, I hope it tastes like maple syrup and richness.
Do you really think it's going to taste like maple syrup?
Oh, no, I don't think it's going to taste like that. I just hope. You asked me what I hoped it tasted like. Everything from Canada is maple syrup flavored, isn't it?
No, Matt. No.
Okay, let's see. Our plastic top is indeed a twist off.
So there's no cork?
No cork. Just a little plastic crown-shaped top. Kind of cool looking, but kind of cheap looking. I do like that it's so thick one direction, but so thin the other. It's very easy to hold this way.
Okay.
Which is nice. Let's move our glasses a little closer here to do the pouring. Okay, whoop. I made noise. Oh, I got it on the table. And made more noise. And dripped more. Okay. This is just going so well.
We are a train wreck.
I also poured like nothing into my glass in the process, too. In our next video, we'll teach you how to pour whiskey, because clearly, as you can
Experts.
see... Yeah. So much skill. We have many highlights we could show you.
Okay, this is a bit darker. I mean, coming out of that bottle, it looked a little darker, but it's darker than a couple of the scotches we've tried recently.
surprisingly little smell at all on this. Like, I really have to work to get a smell.
Yeah.
It's incredibly mellow smelling.
The faintness I'm getting, it could be a minor citrus or a minor expo marker.
It does smell, I think, a little fruity and a little chemically, like a marker or like a paint, kind of.
Maybe there's something else there that I'm not really sure about.
Could be the maple syrup.
Could be the maple syrup.
Could be the...
I mean, the color is similar to a number of maple syrups I've had.
That is true. It does look kind of like a maple syrup.
I'm now going to be very disappointed if it doesn't taste like maple syrup.
It doesn't smell like maple syrup, so I don't think you should.
But I want maple syrup.
Okay, we'll have pancakes after this, Mac.
Promise?
Yeah, I promise. And we'll go play hockey and go curling and...
I'm not sure this tastes like anything I've had before.
Yeah. I agree. It's... Just like the smell, I think it's a very subtle taste. It's very mild smell and taste compared to like the scotches we've had for sure.
I'm confused by this. I don't know exactly what I thought was gonna taste like this. It's not too much like a scotch, and it's not too much like a bourbon.
No.
But I'm not sure where on the flavor spectrum it really is. It's not overpowering.
No.
It has a little bit of sweetness.
A little bit.
No smoke.
No smoke, you're right. A little bit of burn. Not
a little bit.
Not as much as some we've had by any means, but...
It does stick around for a little bit.
It does.
The flavor doesn't, but the burn does.
Yeah, it's... My mouth and throat feel warm after drinking it, but it's not like a burn so bad that it's going to make you cringe.
If I had to lump it in with one group or the other, being scotch or bourbon, I think it's closer to a bourbon.
Okay.
But I think it's much more mellow. I feel like bourbons try to punch my taste buds a bit more.
Yeah, they have like those big, bold flavors.
Yeah.
It's worth noting this is a blended whiskey, right?
Okay.
So not a single malt. I think we typically... Have we seen any single malts that weren't scotches yet? I don't know if we have.
I'm not sure. I really don't know what to compare this to. It's nothing like the Toki, the Japanese whiskey we tried.
No. So you've mentioned scotch, bourbon, and Japanese whiskey now. Do you see any similarities of this to Jameson, the only Irish whiskey we've tried so far?
A little with the smell. The smell, it's very subtle, but now that I've had a few sips, I've gone back and smelled it again, there is a little sweetness that I kind of associated with, like, the Jameson baked goods kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I'm getting it in the flavor so much as just the smell. And maybe that is why this is, like, its own category of our process here.
Yeah.
It's distinct enough to warrant its own category.
Do you think you might be right on that? What would you rate Crown Royal?
$6.25.
6.25? I'm once again going to express my displeasure at you going past one decimal place, but
I understand that.
I'm going to give this a 6.5, I think.
Okay, wow.
It's good. It is weird, and I don't mean weird...
It's weird because we never tasted something like it.
It's weird compared to all the other whiskeys we've tried. It's not weird just on its own. It's just not what I was expecting. Not what either of us were expecting when we got this, I think. Would you say this is a good beginner whiskey?
I don't know. There's nothing offensive about it. I think, sure, if the price point is decent, I would suggest people can try this out and see what they think about it.
Yeah, it's a very inoffensive drink. I think it would probably be a good entryway into whiskey. That being said, it doesn't have a lot of similarities with a lot of other whiskeys we've tried, so it may be hard to move from this point to branch out into other whiskeys. But at the same time, for someone who's never had one, this isn't going to turn you off from whiskey, I don't think.
Okay.
So I think it would be a fair place to start. I think it's also worth noting that I've noticed in liquor stores there are a lot of flavored Crown Royal varieties where they actually add like fruits and other flavors to the whiskey.
Interesting.
So it seems like that might be aimed more at people who aren't just regular whiskey drinkers who just want a pure whiskey. So maybe that would also indicate that it's good for beginners.
Okay.
All right, what do we have as the official tasting notes on Crown Royal, Kristen?
All right, on their official website, on the nose, rich and robust with slight hints of vanilla and fruit.
The vanilla is probably that
Rich
sweetness.
vanilla.
Yeah. And once again, vanilla has been present in literally every whiskey we've tried.
Yep.
Because they're made in oak barrels.
And oak is vanilla.
Yeah. What else do we have for the tasting notes, Kristen?
Palate, delicately smooth and creamy with hints of oak and the sweet flavor of vanilla.
Did we talk about what we tasted out of it? We just talked about it being not offensive, but
I don't think we could pick out any specific flavors. Or
I think you're right, yeah. So, I agree with those flavors, I guess, but only because I'm not really sure what else I was tasting.
Finish, long and lingering.
You did say that. You did say it sticks around a long time, like the warmness, but it's not a very strong flavor. But there is something that just kind of hangs around about it.
Final thoughts, Crown Royal.
I would drink it. It doesn't seem like a very pretentious whiskey, despite the fact that it has crowns on it. It tastes good, if albeit not particularly unique.
Okay.